Imagine with me for a moment. You walk into a Gothic cathedral, a pipe organist is playing in the choir. Other than him, you and God are the only ones present. You look up, tilting your head all the way back just to see the magnificent height of the vaulted ceiling. You need only glance anywhere around to see exquisite stained glass and incredibly intricate handcrafted details. Do you feel the awe and majesty? What a beautiful way to direct us to heavenly mindset, to lead our thoughts to the pure splendor of God. Gothic architecture has always fascinated me. I've always been startled by the amount of work and artistry put into it. Many cathedrals took over a century to build. They are truly astounding feats of architectural artwork. Today, my goal is to share with you how incredible these structures are by going through the origination and definition of Gothic architecture, a brief history by stepping through the 3 era subdivisions, and the defining characteristics of Gothic architecture, focusing, of course, on cathedrals, the best examples of this style. The term Gothic was originally invented around 1530, during the Renaissance, after the Gothic period had come to a close. Andrew Martindale, a professor of visual arts at the University of East Anglia in Norwich, England, states that it was actually a derogatory adjective to describe the vulgar and barbaric. But the term Gothic has stuck through the centuries, and though it no longer carries its original connotations and is used today to define the era. Now that we've defined the term, let's discuss the emergence of Gothic architecture and the 3 main subdivisions of the time period. Gothic architecture first appeared in France around 1137 and evolved from a very similar Romanesque style. Abbot Suger, a friend of French kings during this time, was entrusted to redesign and rebuild the Church of St. Denis. Suger discovered new building techniques which allowed him to create vaulted ceilings. By ribbing or crisscrossing the beams at the top of the structure, the cathedral walls were able to withstand a much greater weight, and therefore Suger could build his church higher and wider without worrying about the towers collapsing. The pointed arches went higher than ever before. He took away much of the solid walls and replaced them with a stone skeleton structure, a skeleton-like frame, and filled the empty spaces with beautiful stained glass. This let in light and gave the cathedrals an airy feel. Gothic style was born. The first subdivision, Early Gothic, ran from 1130 to 1200 AD. The typical early Gothic cathedral's eastern end was a semicircle, the choir or presbytery. The western end is what we usually see in pictures. It's a wide facade detailed with stained windows and pointed arches, and enormous imposing doorways with the 2 large towers opposite each other on the top. The exterior sides of the cathedral exhibit a mind-blowing arrangement of pinnacles, statues, and the infamous gargoyles and flying buttresses. A perfect example of early Gothic architecture is the Notre Dame Cathedral shown here. Second came High Gothic, from 1220 to 1300. Architects continued the style of early Gothic. The early Gothic had presented